Because we are back in an Infinity Ward era, and Infinity Ward doesn't write patch notes and doesn't communicate anything ever about their game. So thank God these people exist, and they've released some videos recently regarding precisely how things work and whether they're, for example, worth using or not, how mechanics work. Activision devs do not play their own game. It's not your dad doesn't support you.
You should know, you worked at a coffee shop, you stupid bitch.
My name is Casey, and absolutely not fucking Tanner, because my parents don't hate me that much.
Hey, did they have just 8 patches lined up, but they just didn't release them because they were on break? No, you moron kids.
Then we'll, of course, get into it. Change your fucking name and get scammed. He's feeling under the weather.
I probably won't say another word until Stay Humble, so have a good pod, Raz. I'll be here listening.
Got it. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast, episode number 284. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon, and today, once again, I am joined by my good friend Tanner.
Hey, how are ya?
I'm doing great. You're getting a lot of mileage out of the Dropshot official A Call of Duty podcast hoodie.
It's got a few miles on it for sure. Yeah, it's getting up there.
How does a used with mileage hoodie perform? Has the quality degraded? Have the ends begun to fray, or has it
not
held
at all?
up?
It's still warm, fitting great. God, it's so warm. It's super warm actually. I had to take it off yesterday when we were playing because I was getting too warm
and comfortable.
Oh God, it's nice. It's so soft inside. Yeah, it's fantastic. Logo's still looking great. Looks like the day I picked it up. I've washed it probably 10, 15 times at least. Yeah, it's doing great. Probably 10 times, yeah.
A lot, yeah. More than I've ever washed all hoodies in my entire life, probably. And welcome to the broadcast. You can find a Dropshot hoodie if you're a size at thedropshot.com, our website. We have a store. We have a shop. So you can check that out. We got some other things there as well. And you can find everything of ours there. And welcome to the show. If you're a new listener, by the way, I should remind everyone, should be doing this more often. We timestamp the episodes. So if you want to skip to a particular section, you could do that if you are so inclined. So keep that in mind if you're annoyed that we're perhaps belaboring a section or point more than you would like. Hey, you can skip it. It's your prerogative. It's up to you. And now you know. You've been armed with the information. Man. You can do whatever you want. We got the timestamps. Now, today, we have some fun and exciting news to talk about. Fortunately, Tanner did the notes today, and I thank Tanner for that. And we also did a little deep dive, which I'm very pleased about, into some hidden patch notes, some explanations of how things work that we, of course, did not get from Infinity Ward, because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything. Luckily, we have people like XclusiveAce, JGOD, TrueGameData, and we're back to 2020, who will actually give us details and stats and information that should be in the game, but of course aren't. Because we are back in the Infinity Ward era. So we're going to go through some of that information for your guys' convenience. We will link all of the source material in the show notes once this is uploaded. And we have some other things to go over as well, but I think that's going to be the most interesting topic today. Now, before we get into that, a couple announcements. Welcome to our new gold patrons, Horn E, K, Shane, Timebreaker Baba, I'm a literal, and literal is spelled with 2 T's here, which is wrong. It's 1 T. Pig, you are a pig. Rusty, Chuver, and Shuver. Boys, welcome to our new gold patrons. Very much appreciate that. Kings, very kind of you. Welcome to the show. More importantly, we got a new Damascus patron, Alex J, fake last name. An absolute Giga King, Chad. And
Giga
God.
King.
And we
Wow.
appreciate and love and respect that. And Oat Milk has upgraded. Change it, obviously, of course. From a gold patron person to a Damascus patron. And what happened was he became a gold patron. He loved the bonus content so much that he wanted fucking more of it. So he upgraded to Damascus, and we salute you, Oat Milk. And you guys, like Oat Milk, could get more bonus content and ad-free episodes and early access episodes if you wanted at patreon.com/thedropshot, which is the best way to support the show. 5 bonus eps a month, ad-free, early access, all that and more. Check it out.
That's a lot. Wow.
That's a lot. It's a whole lot. Yeah, so you can go to patreon.com/thedropshot for that, for all those goodies. And that is, of course, the best way to support the program. So even if you want none of that, but you want to support the show, support us, support what we're doing here, which is, of course, God's work, then go there, patreon.com/dropshot. And thanks to all of you. Very much appreciated. We also got a new YouTube member, Space Kipper. If you want to support the show in other ways, if you wanted to get access to the live stream VODs after they are over, you can become a YouTube member for that benefit, and we will have more benefits for our YouTube members eventually. Space Kipper, thank you, sir. We very much appreciate it. Now, speaking of the Patreon, we have done our last Patreon ep for November. It was live yesterday, and we did a fun and exciting multiplayer brainstorm. So if you're a patron, you're already familiar with this concept, but one thing we do a lot on the Patreon for our bonus episodes are episodes called brainstorms. We do them for Warzone mostly, but we've done them for multiplayer as well, depending on if the game at the time is fun to play in multiplayer. And MW2 is one such game. So we brought this back, which we haven't done in quite a while. We did do a Warzone brainstorm this month, but most recently we did a multiplayer brainstorm. Our first one for MW2. And it was very fun and exciting. And normally how brainstorms work is Tanner and I will talk about things relating to the mode. And we'll ask questions that we don't even know the answer to. So like, what are the best perks to run? We're actually not positive on that. We're positive on certain things. Fast hands, for example.
Yes.
Or like, what are the best attachments to run in general on a submachine gun in multiplayer? Like, we actually don't know yet with MW2. So these are the types of things we like to talk about in brainstorms for multiplayer and Warzone. Open questions that we're thinking about but don't really know the answer to. And then oftentimes through talking about it together, we will come to answers or at least to hypotheses that we'll test later on. So I really, really, really enjoy these episodes in general. And our last multiplayer brainstorm, I think, went super well. And it was a great way to kick off what is going to be a great season of brainstorms to come. How did you like that episode?
Yeah, I think it was kind of the first time we've covered a lot of like the topics we haven't talked about a whole lot. Now that, we've been playing the game for a month when it comes to, guns, perks, equipment, field upgrade, just talking about gun balance in general, what our thoughts were, because some of our thoughts have changed from our first impressions on the game when it comes to things like gun balance, especially. And then, one of the big ones too that we discussed was like kill streaks versus score streaks. Why you should almost never be running kill streaks, etc. So we covered a lot of valuable information there, yeah. And I think we'll continue to do these as long as people enjoy them and, we're enjoying multiplayer, which we are right now, surely.
Yes, for sure. Although I will say, we got a shocking and alarming lack of feedback so far anyway on that bonus episode. What are the attachments you guys are running? Come on, man. I need to know.
They don't know either.
Yeah, I guess they don't know. No one has said as much. Cringe. But anyway, I really enjoyed that episode, and you guys should go give it a listen. Now, Tanner's also written down here, which is worth, excuse me one second. There we go. Saying, is one thing I had said on that episode which I stand by with a caveat, is that you don't have to do all the launchers since we have 3 DLC guns if you're going for Orion. So how it works, as far as I understand, is that to unlock the polyatomic challenge for every gun, you need to get 51 weapons platinum. So in theory, and in fact in actuality, you can get the riot shield, the knife, the RPG, and then every gun that fires bullets to platinum, and that will be 51 without having to do, for example, the Joker, the Strela, and the Pila. I confirmed this because I got the M13 platinum, I got the Boss P platinum, and I got the Victus XMR. These are the 3 new weapons we got in Season 1 to platinum. And I was immediately able to start grinding polyatomic. And then with my my platinum Victus, the polyatomic challenge is to get 20 headshots. I did that and it tracked. It counted as 1 out of 51 to unlock Orion. So whether or not you've started on launchers, you don't have to get double kills with all 4 launchers if you don't want to, and I would strongly encourage you not to do that. Because I was able to get a DLC gun polyatomic. Now, Lag Show was saying he was going for headshots with his Boss P, the new SMG, because he has the polyatomic challenges unlocked, but the headshots were not tracking for him. However, his Boss P was only like level 2 or something. So they weren't tracking for him for a DLC gun, but they were tracking for me for a DLC gun. So now the theory is maybe you need the DLC gun to be gold before polyatomic starts tracking, or maybe it even needs to be platinum before it starts tracking.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, though, I would rather level a Boss P, a Victus, or an M13 from level 1 to platinum than get 15 Strela double kills. If that's all I need to do. I would rather do that. Maybe it would take me longer to get a Victus from level 1 to platinum, but it would at least be not mind-numbingly boring than trying to run around with your platinum Strela looking for 15 double kills. That seems insane to me. So I would encourage all of you, whether or not you've gotten your launchers platinum, to think about that and think, would I rather level my M13 and get this platinum and then polyatomic, or get 15 Pila double kills? Because I would say I would much rather do the former, which is what I'm going to do. And the RPG is very much the easiest launcher to get double kills with, because you do right now need at least 1 launcher since there are only 3 DLC guns so far. I got 9 double kills in 1 game on hardcore shoot house hardpoint. So Q for
it's hardcore. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I did hardcore. Yeah.
I tried doing it like 3 times and couldn't get any.
So here's the strat, hardcore. By the way. Here's a little pro tip. I was running snapshot grenade. So if they controlled the hard point, for example, I would throw a snapshot, and that would allow me to see if there are 2 people close together, obviously. But also it would tell me if someone's pre-aiming where I want to step out and shoot the rocket from. And if they are, maybe I'll switch to my other gun, kill that guy first, and now I have a clear angle on the double kill or whatever, you know. Snapshots helped a ton for doing this, particularly in hardcore. But this is going to be almost certainly easier than getting double kills with a Joker, Strela, or Pila. Or if not easier, certainly faster, I would say. But that's just something to keep in mind. And I hope that explanation made sense.
Yeah, so basically, I think what you insinuated or said in the Patreon episode yesterday is that theoretically, because that's what the game shows, is you should be able to have like a level 5 Baz P, and as long as you have polyatomic challenge unlocked, it would show up as unlocked in the game and you can complete it. And it does show that way, but you can't complete it and it doesn't track. And I tried it this morning myself. My Boss P is like level 19 out of 24. I've done 0 base challenges for it. It's not gold. but the platinum and poly challenge show unlocked. And in one match, I got 1 kill. That was a long shot and a headshot. I immediately backed out, and neither of them tracked. So it doesn't track the platinum either.
So that's confirmed. So maybe it needs to be gold first.
Yeah, which is annoying. I don't know how that works, though, because like when JGOD, early on when the guns came out, he said as soon as he got his BAS-P max level, he could equip Orion. So maybe Orion's different, and you just have it for every gun going forward. He literally didn't, like, not even do the gold challenge. He posted a clip of it. When his BAS-P hit max level, he immediately left the game, went right into his gunsmith, and he equipped Orion, and it worked. So I'm wondering, but that's weird because the gun doesn't technically need to be even max level to like do gold challenges. So I don't understand how it works. So I'm also wondering, maybe once the BAS-P is max level, maybe then platinum and poly track. That would make no sense at all, but maybe that's how it is right now.
Yeah. It has
so
to
maybe
be
I'll have
like
that tested because my gun's 4 off max level, so I'll have to see. Because, yeah, doing 3 guns from, 0 to max level without double XP, double weapon XP, gold, platinum, and then the poly challenge. I don't know. I don't even know if that'd be that much longer than doing or that much quicker than doing all the launchers, honestly. Because I've just been doing the Joker passively when it's on my back, and I'm at like 6 out of 15. And I tried the RPG for a little bit, and I got like 1. I got 0 or 1 in 3 games. I was like, okay, well, this is being a lot more annoying than I thought it'd be, but I wasn't playing hardcore.
Yeah, I think hardcore is probably easier.
Yeah, that'd probably be the same for Jokers too.
Yeah, definitely. I would imagine.
I thought it was going to be easy. I was in voice with you when I did my first Joker game. I was like, all right, I'm going to try this out right now. Just got poly unlocked. I'm going to do a sniper. I'm going to go in ground war, and I'll, throw the Joker on my back. The first rocket I fired in ground war, I got a double kill with my Joker. I was like, oh, this is going to be a breeze. And the rest of that match, I got 0. The match after, I got 0. So it's just totally dependent on lobbies. You can get, if your team is getting like farmed and you're on like, say, the good spawn on Sarif Bay, which is the bad spawn. But if you spawn in at your main spawn and they have control of your closest flag, there's always 10 enemies in that building and on the roof. You can just farm double kills there. So I think it's just very hit or miss. But I was playing ground war anyways, like I said, doing snipers. So
yeah.
And at this point, I don't know about you. I think I haven't been rushing through it now. I think I'm at 9 out of 51 on the poly.
I'm at 21 or 23.
So I have a question. When you have been going for headshots with guns, do you specifically just aim for their head and try to kill them? Or are you just trying to do good and kill the person and mix in a headshot?
For a lot of the guns I've done, let me pull up where's my Google Sheet? There it is. I haven't done any good guns yet. Like the categories I still need are ARs, LMGs, and SMGs. So I've done most of the categories I've already done. It's like you kind of have to go for headshots. So that's all I've been doing.
Yeah, because I would say that's the issue. I've done like 2 ARs. I've done the TAC V. And when I was doing it, I end up losing so many gunfights literally because I'm only aiming for their head. I'm not even aiming for their upper chest. I'm aiming for their head. So I'll just end up losing a bunch of gunfights. And I keep thinking, like, maybe I should just play to do well and the headshots will come. I don't know what's better or what's less frustrating or what'll be quicker. I haven't figured that out yet. If you should just actually strictly go for headshots in every gunfight or just go for the kill and hopefully you get a headshot. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet.
I haven't either, yeah.
With the fully auto guns.
I've been wondering that myself for when I do get to those challenges. But like for the other guns, I just go for headshots and it's a lot of fun, by the way. It's a lot of fun. Like doing the Deagle and the Basilisk was really fun. Doing the Marksman rifles. Yeah, I did all these in core because they're all one-shot headshots. Not all the pistols, but like every marksman rifle, 1-shot headshot kill. So you're just looking around going to pop heads. I found that the VLK is the easiest for like marksman rifles and battle rifles, by the way, for getting headshots in multiplayer. Because you can get people from pretty far, and if you get crowded, you don't get uber fucked. You can still get headshots. I found the VLK to be easiest for that.
I've just been using like iron sights or red dots.
Yeah, that I started with that, and it was much harder than a VLK for me. It was taking me much longer to just pop heads.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I would encourage all of you to give that a try. But yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do the the other guns. I feel like for LMGs, I'll only go for headshots also because you need like 2, and it'll be a kill in core. You know, but
That's
for like
true.
SMGs and ARs, that's a good question. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do.
And so, just so everyone knows, for pistols, you didn't use akimbo attachments for headshots, right?
No.
You just used, okay.
For none of them.
Did you use an optic on your pistols?
Yeah. And for the Basilisk, I didn't do the snake shot strat. I put on that sniper scope and just put on all range, damage range, bullet velocity attachments, and I was just sniping people in the head.
Interesting.
And it was a one-shot headshot as well. Super fun. Super fucking fun. But yeah, you'll fly through those quicker than you think. For sure. So anyway, yeah. You can get the DLC guns polyatomic without having to do the launchers. The only question is, does it need to be max level for them to start tracking? Or do they need to be gold for them to start tracking? Or do they need to be platinum for them to start tracking? We don't know yet, but we'll get back to you guys. Tanner will hopefully figure that out. So there you go. Also, quickly, a couple other announcements. And I should have mentioned this earlier, sorry. Malcolm Bum Volacum 3175 absolutely changed it. Broke our cherry, our super thanks cherry. On Thanksgiving, he gave us on a video a little $4.99 super thanks, which is a thing you can do on YouTube, and said, I am most grateful for aim assist. Without it, I would be genuinely trash. Malcolm, change your YouTube name, and thank you very much, dude, for the offline on a video super thanks. I forgot this was a feature, but apparently you can go to a video and press like a thanks button, and then you can like, it's like a super chat, but it's on a recorded like a video, you know?
Yeah, and you post, and it'll show up like a pinned comment.
Correct. Yes. And Malcolm is the first one to ever do it for the Dropshot of Call of Duty podcast. So Malcolm, thank you very much, dude. The Thanksgiving 5 bones. Very much appreciate that, my dude. Very kind of you. So a couple other announcements. One other announcement, really. Roundtable Saturday. Tanner and I are going to have a Warzone Al Masra roundtable. We are having on some returning guests. It's going to be fun and exciting. Not going to be a huge panel. It's kind of thrown together, so this isn't going to have some new guests and returning guests. It's not going to have average player representation. It's going to be Tanner and a bunch of good players talking about Warzone 2, storming it up, and just in general, a round table. And many of you who have been around for a while, who have listened to round tables before, really enjoy them. I really enjoy them. So does Tanner. We're very excited for this one. It's going to be our first ever Warzone 2 post-launch anyway, round table. And there's going to be a lot of fun and exciting things to talk about. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Tanner and I played a lot of Warzone. Was that yesterday? Yes, yesterday. And I will say this, because I know on Patreon, I was saying I hadn't been playing much Warzone. But now that the only thing I have to do are headshots for Orion, I'm not rushing it as much. I don't have the fire in me anymore. Because now I'm not dreading anything. Because a lot of the fire in my belly has been, I want to be done with shit I'm dreading, camos I'm dreading. But I'm not dreading any anymore. So now I'm kind of chilling. Played a lot of Warzone yesterday. And I had way more fun than I expected to. I crashed like 4 times, which is entirely too many. But outside of that, now that I have like all my attachments, all my guns are max level, it was a lot of fun. And we were doing pretty well. We got a couple wins. I had way more fun than I expected to have, and that was really great. And expect some more Warzone content, in the future. And hopefully the game continues to improve and become more stable, and then we will have more space to play it and therefore talk about it. But yeah, how did you like the sesh yesterday?
I've been playing Warzone pretty much every day, so I've been having fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even through all the problems right now, it's still very fun. I would still rather play current Warzone and crash and deal with the bugs than go back and play Caldera at all.
Oh, for sure.
I would take this over the last 5 months we had of Caldera easily. So,
yeah,
without a doubt.
Absolutely.
It's more fun and interesting and new, and it'll feel that way for months still. So,
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So, anyway, yeah. Reminder, Roundtable on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come check it out live. It's on the schedules. There you go. That's it. Let's get into it. If you're listening for the jingle, here it is.
We got a dono, by the way. Pat.
A super chat? I don't see a dono. I saw the super chat 30 minutes ago. Is that what you're referring to? We already talked about it. Well, he can get back to me. All right! Welcome, boys and girls, to episode 284. So, starting off today with patches, changes already in effect. Got a couple little things to talk about here. The meat and potatoes of this program is probably going to be, as we said at the outset, some hidden patch notes. But first we have some official news. Treyarch has tweeted that the CDL Mosh Pit is now live. Please take note that the CDL Mosh Pit, they say in this tweet, and CDL private matches share loadouts. Therefore, we recommend that players create their preferred loadouts in a CDL private match lobby before matchmaking to navigate restrictions easily. So this is, I don't think, intended. I'm not really sure, but the CDL Mosh Pit is now live. This is not the same as ranked play. Ranked play is not live yet, but the CDL Mosh Pit is going to share the same rules and restrictions, or most of them, I would imagine, that the eventual ranked play for CDL ranked multiplayer we're going to get will have.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yes, that's cool. That's in. Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House. It won't.
Yeah.
We can hope, though,
maybe.
right?
You can cope about that for sure, but...
Surely, yeah. Ranked play will definitely fix that problem, too. Ranked play will take all the good players away, surely.
Full despair.
Copium. Yeah.
Were you talking about a super chat, by the way?
Yeah, I didn't realize we had already got that one. Yeah. Was that before we started, Pat's? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, usually you just forget them, ignore them, so I wasn't sure.
Thank you again for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate that. All right, moving on. Charlie Ansel tweeted that Infinity Ward confirms double XP is active across MW2 and Warzone 2 for PlayStation players. It'll be live for all players tomorrow, ending December 2nd.
Which is now.
So this doesn't matter. It's not double weapon XP. It's regular XP. So who cares?
Why is it already ending tomorrow?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know, but it's irrelevant. So if you wanted to get Prestige 5 soon or something, I guess. Did they say, I don't remember, Tanner, do they add new Prestige ranks?
The ranks will keep going up. Your rank will stay the same. Yeah.
No, I understand that. But are they going to add like Prestige 6 and 7 and 8 in Season 1 Reloaded? Or do they wait till actual new seasons? Do you know? You remember?
New seasons. I'm not mistaken. I think it's just every season you'll get an extra 250 levels.
Okay.
I believe is what they're doing. So I think Season 2 will go up to level 500 probably. I think that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I suspect that's the case. So that makes double XP even more useless. So
yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Infinity Ward. Beanox has also tweeted at Beanox COD PC. If you play Call of Duty on PC, we would recommend you follow these guys. They are surprisingly responsive to people on Twitter. I believe Tanner even, in fact, tweeted at them, hey, there's a bug with toggle ADS on PC, KBAM specifically. Fix it. And they said, okay, we're on it. And then within a week, they literally fixed it. And
it was in like a few days.
Yeah,
that was back in Caldera. And no one was talking about that issue because a lot of players, well, I mean, there were some people talking about it, but most KBAM players probably don't play on toggle, so they didn't realize I don't know if they even knew the bug was a thing, but yeah, they've responded to me before, so that was cool.
Yeah, so
they are specific for PC, yeah.
And yeah, they're a PC-specific support team, and they are very responsive, so we recommend you follow them. But anyway, here's what they tweeted on the 30th of November, which is yesterday, I believe. Excuse me. We just released an update, fixed an issue causing multiple crashes on PC, and an issue that resulted in the game dropping FPS for a moment when mousing over a locked operator. That doesn't matter, but if they fixed an issue causing crashes on PC, or multiple crashes, that's very good. They did this patch, I'm not kidding, 10 minutes after I stopped playing yesterday, so that was cool.
Yeah.
After I crashed like 4 times that day. I cannot confirm or deny personally if this helped me at all, but it at least didn't cause more crashing, so that's good. And they're at least looking into it also, which is good.
Well, I don't know. It may have caused more crashing, actually.
Tell me more about that.
Everyone right after on Twitter was pretty much saying, cool, still crashing, still dev airing nonstop. I played 2 games this morning of quads. No one crashed in either game. I don't know if they had crashed at any point earlier when I wasn't playing.
That seems better than yesterday.
I mean, I don't know. It was
4-game streak we had without crashing.
Yeah, but usually that wasn't the... I mean, I don't know. Yesterday seemed a lot worse for some reason. Something was going on yesterday, for sure. I mean, there was one game, which I'd never seen this before. All 4 of us crashed. You crashed, and then you left. You're like, all right, well, I'm done. After you left Discord, 2.5, 3 minutes later, I crashed. I'm like, cool, I crashed. Another probably 4 minutes later, Jake crashed, I think. And then right after, who else were we playing with? Was it Jake and Cope or someone else? Pop. Literally like 20 seconds after Jake crashed, Pop started laughing. He's like, dude, I'm not even kidding. I just crashed you. So all 4 of us crashed within probably 5-6 minutes of each other. That I had never seen before.
Yeah, that is weird.
But anyways, so right after this, like there were people like replying to their tweet, including Nadeshot. He was like, not being sarcastic. My game just got a scan and repair 5 minutes after the update while scrolling through the menu and friends list. I've never had a scan and repair of this type before this update. So smile. They fixed crashing issues of one type and introduced new crashing issues. That's always how Activision games go. They fix something and then 2 other things go wrong. And it was just full of comments like that. Some other guy was like, it crashes and I just lost everything in DMZ. Cool, smile. And this is minutes after the update. So it didn't seem to work very well. We'll see how it's going today, but they're trying, I guess. Cool. Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store and about their double weapon XP or double XP. Haven't tweeted once this week about the game.
Not once.
Haven't said, hey, sorry, we know there's a bunch of crashing. We're working hard to fix it. No. They've said, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate that. We gave our employees 8 weeks off to celebrate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it wasn't as effective of a patch as we would hope.
It may have done nothing, yeah.
But again, the silver lining here, they're at least trying. Or at least they say they're trying. So at least there's some eyeballs on it.
At least they tweeted. Good. I enjoy that. Thank you, Beanox.
Yeah, shout out to Beanox for
fix the game
tweeting
faster.
Yeah. So now on to some hidden patch notes. As we have said, we're going to be back to covering a lot of XclusiveAce, a lot of JGOD, a lot of TrueGameData, a lot of people who test how attachments and game mechanics work, because we are back in an Infinity Ward era, and Infinity Ward doesn't write patch notes and doesn't communicate anything ever about their game. So thank God these people exist, and they've released some videos recently regarding precisely how things work and whether they're, for example, worth using or not, how mechanics work. And we're going to start with an XclusiveAce video on weapon tuning.
Yeah.
And how effective it is, how big of an impact weapon tuning goes one way or another. This is, of course, when you get a gun max level, you can then change the properties of some attachments. So you can make an underbarrel give you extra hipfire accuracy at the cost of aiming idle stability or vice versa on that axis, etc. And again, I'll remind you guys, we will have the links to all of these videos in the show notes. So if you want to go watch the whole video yourselves, which in many cases we will encourage you to do, you can just click on the show notes or in the video description on YouTube and find that source material. But starting here with XclusiveAce. Now, full disclosure, I have not watched any of these videos yet. I was fascinated with Kanye West completely losing his mind live on Infowars.com this morning. I woke up late. I had to talk to my parents about the moving shit too. So, Tanner's going to fill all of you in and me as well. What is this
so this first video from Ace was called Can You Trust the Tuning in Modern Warfare 2?
Oh no.
And the graphs and whatnot. So up until probably this video came out, which I think was 3 or 4 days ago, everyone was just max tuning their guns one way or the other. Tuning max for damage range, and then at the cost of, I don't know what the other side of damage range usually is. Damage or damage range, I don't know. But at the cost of that other side.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. So he tested some different things to kind of see how they work. There's a lot of little things in there. You should just watch the video. I'll just very briefly explain. It's like a 9-minute video though. So for example, he tested the Commando foregrip on the MP7 to kind of see like how aim walking speed actually changes. Because basically, if you take the slider and max that bitch one way or the other, if you look at the graph, when you get to a certain point, essentially stops moving more towards aim walking speed and sometimes even goes back further, which is kind of showing that it's making your aim walking speed actually worse, even though it's maxing out, than if you were to put the aim walking speed at like half or something. So he tests this, of course. So without tuning, the Commando foregrip aim walking speed was 3.19 meters per second. So he put that bitch at halfway, which is 0.2 on the tuning scale, halfway on the tuning towards aim walking speed. It took it from 3.19 meters per second to 3.29. Then he tested one more time and maxed it out, and the aim walking speed was worse maxed out than it was halfway.
Whoa.
Smile. It is not that way for all attachments, though. That seems to be one of them that actually works that way and somehow makes it worse. So he showed another one here.
Wait, hold on. So you were saying, I have a question.
Yeah.
When the slider was at halfway, you're saying on the radial menu, like that graph on the right side of your screen, it was like more toward mobility, and then when he slid it even all the way to the right, it went a little bit away from mobility, or like
all the attachments are a little bit different, but I believe that's how that one specifically worked. Yes.
So the graph does reflect how much the graph reflects what the slider is doing.
Yes, I'll get to that at the end.
Okay. All right.
So then, like, moving on here, he tested a barrel on a Lockman 5.56, and it's a damage range barrel. So with the no tuning, he was thinking, okay, based on this MP7 test, I wonder if all attachments work this way, and things like damage range is actually less when it's maxed out versus when it's halfway. So that's why he tested the damage range barrel. And how this worked was certain increments go up a ton, and then you keep tuning it more, and you may still get benefits, but it's not nearly as much. So the max damage range with this AR without tuning was 67 meters. When he tuned it 0.10, which is about a quarter of the way, it added an extra 1.6 meters to it. This is kind of hard to listen to and explain, I'm sure, which is why I'm saying watch the video. He tuned it even more, another 25%, and that only increased the max damage by 0.1 meter. But that same tuning percentage up to a certain increment did way more value, basically. Yeah. So it's kind of confusing, but the charts make it very simple to understand. And then for the damage range, he did end up maxing it out, and it actually did give you the most damage range. So something else that he kept noting about the damage is the stats will appear to raise for damage itself and saying it's like dealing more damage. So you're thinking, because there's a range category on the graph and a damage graph, and a damage. So there's a range and a damage both on the graph. They're separate. Right. The damage range barrel also shows you're getting more damage, but he was like, I don't think that's the case as far as what I can accurately test. It's not actually giving you more damage, so it's raising that on the graph. So Smile, you also can't always trust what the graph is saying.
I see.
Because that's not necessarily right either. Right. But so for like damage range attachments, that is one attachment that you do pretty much always want to max it out. And that's big for Warzone too, is you always want to max out the damage range. It's not giving you that much more, really. I mean, that's like max tuned, he got an extra 2.4 meters on his max damage range.
Yeah.
Almost nothing, really. Right. But still, it's something. It's better than not tuning without massive downside. So the biggest thing here, in general, is to always watch the graph itself. And I did go in game after and I looked at this and I tuned some of my weapons differently. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see exactly what he's talking about. You get to a certain point and you slowly start tuning it, and like say your mobility goes really fast all of a sudden, and it's at its highest point, and then you tune more and it either stays the same and gives you more negatives, or it actually ends up being worse. So if the attachment has one specific stat that you're trying to raise, like aim, walking, movement speed, then the graph will kind of tell you when you hit its sweet spot. Because you'll see, then you'll start to get a bunch of other negatives through that graph that start lowering, basically.
Okay.
And then for something like damage range that it'll move towards damage and damage range, and that you can't trust the graph itself, but it still kind of shows you what it's doing. Watch the video to fully understand what I'm talking about. But basically, there are sweet spots for tuning, and for most attachments, it is not maxing them out, because what it comes down to is you have too many cons. You have too many cons for the small bonus that you may be getting, or even the more of a downside that you're getting. Even though you're tuning it max for that thing, it may still be getting worse. That's
super interesting, and I'm at least very glad that you can largely trust the graph.
Mostly it seems you can trust the graph. Yeah.
So, and you can find like a sweet spot and the diminishing returns. Yeah, I see. Okay. That's very interesting. That makes a lot of sense. I will watch the video, and once again, we'll link it. We'll encourage you guys to watch it as well. And shout out to XclusiveAce. Again, subscribe to him. He puts out videos of this kind all the time that are very insightful. This is good to know. Another point I want to make that is somewhat related to the video, but not really, is that these differences are either very different or not very different at all. So for example, the commando grip, without tuning, 3.19 meters per second ADS strafe speed. With tuning, 3.29. 0.1 meters per second. It's hard for me to gauge how big that is, but that seems decent, because if you imagine you have 2 or 3 attachments that give you the benefit of ADS strafe speed, plus you tune them to give you more ADS strafe speed, that seems like it's fairly impactful. On the other hand, going from 67 meter first damage range to 69.4 max damage range with tuning, very little.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 2 damage range attachments, for example, a barrel and a muzzle, that would maybe be 5 extra meters of damage range. 5 meters more of damage range on a submachine gun is fucking huge. But on an AR, where the damage range is 67 versus, for example, 72, not a very big deal at all.
Still it's hardly ever going to come into play.
Exactly, yeah. Still probably worth doing, because why not? As long as you're not hitting diminishing returns and getting a bunch of negatives. And again, trust the graph. But it's interesting to see that weapon tuning seems, at least from what I'm seeing here, way more impactful for certain stats, or maybe certain attachment types, than others. And it would make sense that damage range would be the least impacted, because if they made weapon tuning give you an extra 10 fucking meters of damage range, that would be really hard to balance.
Exactly.
So that's interesting to know.
It's almost kind of nice now that the tuning has sweet spots you have to find, because that makes it more meaningful. And that was my main complaint, is it's like, well, I feel like they made all the attachment shit, and then all you do is go into tuning and you just max that bitch one way, and then that makes that attachment perform closer to how it should just perform by default. So I actually kind of do like that there are sweet spots that you have to find for them, or you can not. You can just max it out if you want, but you're going to get more cons from the other side of that linear graph.
Exactly. And sometimes that'll be worth it for you, and sometimes it won't be. So yeah,
and it depends how good you are. If it's something if you're getting some benefit, like say damage range or damage at the cost of recoil control, maybe a good player would want that. I don't know if that stat actually exists, but I'm just using that as an example. Maybe a good player would want that because they can control the recoil, but a player who's not quite as good may not want all of that. They want a little bit extra damage range, but they also want easier recoil to control.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you're right.
So
yeah,
so that's cool. And then moving on here, it would be
really cool if any of this came from Infinity Ward, by the way.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nuts? Yeah, it'd be fucking crazy.
Anyway.
But yeah, this also makes me actually want to try different attachments more now that I can actually look at the graph and see what it does. Like, there are certain things I've been using now. I have been reading the little bar graphs closer, like what you were talking about when it comes to, like, you look for barrels or muzzle attachments, and you basically will find one that it shows on that little bar graph
and like
gives you the most recoil control. I've been using that as a base a lot more lately. Like, I keep using this one muzzle that's only horizontal recoil because it gives you a ton of horizontal from what it feels like. And then when you tune it, you can also tune it for vertical, it seems. That's kind of what the graph shows. Okay. So it's like, I've been using, I think it's the Komodo Heavy. And for me, it gets rid of horizontal recoil a ton on most guns that I've tried it with. So it's like, I don't see too many people running that attachment, but for me, it's way easier to control that. I would rather just have horizontal and then have maybe a little bit more vertical and just have to pull that down, because that's so much easier to control. Especially, that's what I was trying to find right now when I've been going for headshots on ARs and stuff. Having less horizontal recoil helps a ton, because you don't want to just aim for the head and then you're getting horizontal and I'm missing their fucking ear by literally a millimeter and I'm not hitting them, you know?
Yeah.
So that's been good for things like that. So moving on here, JGOD made a similar video that I also watched. It is called Huge Tuning Mistakes You Are Making in Warzone 2.0. Or something like that. Huge tuning mistakes you are making in Warzone 2. Yeah, this is coming from JGOD. So his little TLDR here is, again, fine-tune your attachments. Do not max them one way or another. He says the same thing as Ace. So let's say you're trying to tune for gun kick control. Watch the graph, and there will be a massive increase. That graph will go a lot towards gun kick control. And then all of a sudden, you're like halfway through the tuning, and it'll almost stop. And either stop moving or go back a little bit, go forward a little bit. What you want to do is watch that, and once it hits its max recoil point, then do not tune it any further, because what you're going to do is it'll give you way more negatives from the opposite end of that slider, which in this case that he tested was aiming idle stability. So it's like, you can max it out for gun kick control and you're getting basically no more gun kick control, and then also just destroying your aiming,
just adding
idle stability. So watch the graph on most attachments. That's usually seems to be accurate, and that's how you're going to tune your guns. And you'll start seeing those negatives come into play, and they'll come into play a lot. So that's the best way to do it. Watch the graph itself, tune that way. It generally works pretty well. So that's another good video. That one was very short too. It's like a 5-minute straight to the point video. Highly recommend watching that sucker.
Yeah. Okay. And this is just another person basically confirming what Ace was talking about.
Yeah. And then TrueGameData also put out a video. I kind of went through that one, basically saying the same things. His was more technical with a bunch of numbers, so a little bit hard to understand and talk about. I didn't link his video here, but you guys can go to TrueGameData on YouTube and find that one as well. But
we'll have his channel linked.
Yeah. Another video here he did put out that was another quick one that I want to... oh, wait, no. This was JGOD's video first. So there's a bug right now. We've talked... I don't know if we really have talked about it. The perks are bugged in the game. The perks you get on your custom classes when you select a perk loadout are not the perks you're always actually getting, or some of them don't actually work. It's very weird. There are a bunch of things going on, like people that don't own MW2, but... they only have the free Warzone version. It's something like their perk setups work usually. And then people on Xbox can even at times create their own perk classes for Warzone, even though me on PC, I can't do that. It's very weird. It's all sorts of bugged and fucked up. But through all of this, through perks not working and being working incorrectly, there is a little fun and exciting bug you guys could get right now if you want to take advantage of this. Free UAVs. Again, this is from JGOD. How to get free UAVs in Warzone 2.0. So when you clear a stronghold, you go and get your loadout. And I don't know if you guys knew, I never really paid attention to this. There are the default classes that you can also get. So you set up your own classes, you select the perk package, you select your tactical lethal. When you're looking at that screen, you can also tab over to default loadouts that Warzone has designed, and it comes with their shit guns. But the perks in those setups always work. So if you see high alert in one of those default loadouts, it works. If you see bird's eye, it works. And you're actually getting what you're getting. But then you just have to spend more money, because then you have to go and buy your actual guns from the loadout, because you're getting the shit guns that come with that default loadout.
Right.
So if you tab over to default loadout when you're doing a loadout from a stronghold, and I guess you can also do it from a free loadout drop. All of those perks work for everyone. So there's the last class on there. It's called Scout, and it has Bird's Eye as the ultimate perk. When you pick up this class, Scout, you will have a UAV whenever anyone on the map calls in a UAV for that entire game. It's active. When someone else pops a UAV, it's bugged, and you get a UAV.
Jesus Christ.
It's like you're calling in a UAV.
Yeah.
So JGOD said in one game he tested this. He got a UAV ping, a sweep, a full UAV sweep, almost 20 times in one match just for selecting this loadout, including
Holy
10
shit.
late game from people popping UAVs because it's bugged. He just constantly knows where everyone's at. It's essentially like always just having a massive UAV up everywhere. And I think the range may even be bigger than a regular UAV. I'm not sure. It kind of seemed that way. So there's a little trick. If you guys have a bunch of money early on, and you decide you have 10,000 to also buy your guns, get that default loadout with Bird's Eye, and you just have free UAVs every time someone else on the map calls it in. Smile. I don't know when he posted this video, but I don't think it's been fixed yet. I think Jake and Cope did it yesterday. This was posted 2 days ago.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
So that's fun and exciting. Take advantage of that for sure, because then maybe they'll fix it if everyone's using it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I like when, especially JGOD, he's got like 1 million+ subs on YouTube now. When he does shit videos like this, they get patched pretty soon afterward. So hopefully this is more attention, not just on the bug, but on fucking perks in general, make them work. That would be really cool. So,
and actually, shout out to Metaphor. He's the one that actually found this, and then JGOD credited him and also made a video on it. So Metaphor found this sucker out.
Got it. Yeah.
So cool. Dope.
Very
I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Speaking of that, there's some other interesting things we tried ourselves yesterday. This is a little side point. I watched a video. I was like, oh, you can glitch into a black site. So we landed at one of the closed black sites by downtown. I was like, oh, Cope, there's a quad there. I'm going to stand at this black site locked door, run into me. Cope drove the quad straight into me. My character glitched into the black site, and you can fully loot the black site. And there are no AI in it yet because no one's opened it, and you can loot it before strongholds even spawn. So I got a bunch of money and ended up getting out. Couldn't figure it out. I got out somehow. It let me open one of the doors eventually after searching. So I came out with like, what I have, $12,000-$15,000 or something probably. Something like that. I had a lot. Good loot.
Yeah.
So then the next game we tried it again. Cope and I both got pushed in there and we couldn't get out. We ended up dying in there. So I believe what the issue is, you can take advantage of this bug, but I did a quick little search, and from some video comments that I saw, it seems like you can only get out of the black site that you glitch into once someone on the map clears a stronghold and picks up a black site key. Then that makes it so that key exists in the world, and you can open the black site door from the inside and get back out. Because we got trapped in there the second time and died.
So no one in our entire game had picked up a key, which is why it wasn't openable inside.
That's supposedly what it seems like, yeah. So, you can take the risk and try that if you're playing quads or something. Worst that happens is you end up dying. You still have a bunch of money, so even if you die in the gas, you're going to come back with a bunch of cash either way. And we tried dropping our cash through the wall and all sorts of stuff. It wouldn't work. So there's another little thing. If you want to glitch into a black site, you can do that. Stand by a door, have your teammate run into you, and you're in there. First try. You just get knocked right through the door.
Yeah.
So cool.
Shout out to Infinity Ward.
And then, play testers, by the way. They never thought of doing something like that. They're all 0.2 KDs playtester. So last video here, this one's real short, real to the point. TrueGameData tested suppressors in Warzone 2. Here's how they work. He just wanted to test, make sure he knew how they work. So with a suppressor in Warzone 2, you do not show up on the minimap or compass when you are firing a suppressed weapon ever, it seems. You do show up on the compass, but not the minimap when you're firing a loud gun. So suppressors have some value, but it pretty much just comes down to the compass and who looks at the compass. Not many people look at the compass.
Jake does, but yeah, a lot of
Jake
people
looks
don't.
at the compass, and I can't believe it. I think he stares at the compass the whole game. I
He's
don't pay
7 years
attention to
old,
it.
so.
And I know if I don't pay attention to it half the time, most of the average player base is not paying attention to it ever.
True.
So they don't hold a whole lot of value. However, he did not test this with a UAV active in the area, because with a UAV active in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, the suppressors perform very weird, and I think it's actually bugged. And even if you use a suppressor in multiplayer, if there's a UAV up and you fire, you are on the minimap for like 2 seconds and then disappear. It doesn't follow you like if you're moving around, but if you fire even unsuppressed, you show up on the minimap.
Even suppressed.
Awesome. Yes. So that it may be that way in Warzone 2. He did not test that this way. This video is like 10 days old, and he didn't seem to update that, so I don't know if he's tested that yet. But I have a feeling if it's working that way in multiplayer, it also works that way in Warzone. Which, yeah, I don't think there's many reasons to run a suppressor. I haven't been running a suppressor like at all.
So, yeah.
On most of my builds. I don't think it's worth it. It kind of kills your ADS usually. I would rather, if I have a free attachment, if I'm not using like a stock or grip, I'd rather use like an AR with bullet velocity rounds, or I'm going to use that horizontal recoil control Komodo muzzle device instead. Yeah. So to help me more with that recoil.
Yeah, the TLDR there is that if you're only a suppressor, as far as the minimap is concerned, the only thing it does in Warzone is keep you off the compass when you're firing. That's all it does.
Yes.
Which some people might want, some people might not. But also keep in mind, suppressors do give you other things besides that. So if you're running a suppressor only to stay off the compass, I would say probably not worth it. But if you're trying to get extra like bullet velocity or recoil control on a muzzle device, you might as well use a suppressor, because then you'll at least stay off the compass as well. But that wouldn't be like the primary reason you use a suppressor, which is way unlike Warzone 1, where the primary reason was to stay off the minimap when firing. It doesn't appear, at least right now, to be working that way. And I don't know if this is intended or not. We have no idea, because we don't even know if it's how it works in multiplayer is intended or not. I can't imagine that is intended, where you can fire a suppressed gun with a UAV up and you still get pinged. What's the point of a suppressor then? Because that would behave exactly the same as a loud weapon. You're not on minimap when there's no UAV, but you are on minimap when you fire and there is a UAV. It's the same as not a non-suppressed weapon. So like it's all weird. I don't know what's a bug or what's intentional, and we'll never know because Infinity Ward doesn't communicate ever. So don't worry about suppressors too much, I guess, is the TLDR here. But yeah, as far as Warzone's concerned, it'll keep you off the compass, which is something. But
yeah, and then, after seeing these other tests, the more I think about it, the more I don't even... I would love to know how much a suppressor is helping in terms of recoil, bullet velocity, and damage range. Because, like, if I'm getting an extra 3 meters of max damage range in Warzone, I don't care. There's no reason for me to run that suppressor for that. If I'm getting extra velocity, I guarantee you it's probably 20% of the velocity you're gaining if you're using just the bullet type instead. So at that point, I'd rather use high velocity rounds. And when it comes to recoil control, I'm sure you're not getting a ton of recoil control either, because it's an attachment that gives you a bunch of everything. So I would imagine it's a little bit of everything. It's probably like plus 5 to 10% velocity, plus a little bit recoil control, plus, a 1 inch of damage range or something. So I don't know. And then, Zach, that is true. That's the other thing TrueGameData did say is obviously you can't hear suppressors from nearly as far away. Like, he did one test with an unsuppressed gun. In a direct line of sight, you could clearly hear the gun firing from like 125 meters, and suppressed, it was, way less than that. So that is a thing if people listen as well. But, I don't think that's worth running the attachment for, just to not have as loud of a gun on the map generally.
Yeah, I will add though, because you're right, high velocity rounds, if you want bullet velocity, that's what you need to be doing. But let's say you're doing like sniper submachine gun. SMGs don't have high velocity rounds. So then you might want to add a suppressor because you need all the velocity you can get.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just something to keep in mind. But
yeah, maybe it's something like that.
Tanner is right. The high velocity rounds should be the first thing if you want velocity, if it's available on that gun.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a requirement if you're using an AR or LMG in Warzone for your primary, is to have high velocity rounds.
Yeah.
Like that's literally the most important attachment on the gun. Because it adds so much velocity, which is needed because the base guns just do not have enough, especially for Warzone.
Yeah, so they don't have very much at all.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, so that's it for those videos. We'll have those linked for you guys below to check them out.
Correct.
And check out all the other videos, of course. And yeah, moving on here, not too much else to cover. It's from Charlie Intel. Activision officially confirms Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is now live in Australia on Google Play, with iOS Australia release coming soon. Worldwide release is still planned for 2023. Why would it come out a month earlier in Australia?
Yeah, that's really weird. I have no idea.
What am I missing here? We haven't been keeping tabs on Warzone Mobile. I don't really care that much, but it is coming. It's coming out. Another interesting thing was it does have like cross progression with MW2 and Warzone 2, so that's interesting. The map is Verdansk, as we've talked about before, and the UI is exactly the same. So that's why they designed the shitty UI as for mobile. So they ruined the UI for console and PC because it's designed for mobile.
I believe that completely. Yeah.
Got it. I mean, it is identical. The UI is fucking identical, and that'd be probably pretty damn easy to navigate, or the easiest way to navigate on a mobile device.
Yeah.
So that's coming if you care about that. And then, the other thing Charlie Intel said here is the mobile loading screens confirmed. The game shares player levels with MW2 and Warzone 2. Weapon progression is also synced, which is super interesting. And it has the same Battle Pass store bundles and connected icon also sync between games. So essentially, everything's cross progression. You're just on a different map, not playing with each other. Everything else is the same, though. Your weapon progression, which is pretty insane.
That actually is pretty insane. This makes Warzone Mobile way more attractive than I initially thought. Because something we had been saying about this was like, this is really cool, and it's going to make them a ton of money. But anyone listening to this podcast is not like going to play Warzone Mobile, because you guys obviously play on like a machine. So this doesn't matter that much. However, if you can be like getting battle pass tiers or just grinding out weapon levels for when you get home from work to play Warzone, I would actually download this and like on lunch break, play a match, get 5 weapon levels for your Fennec. And then when you get home, you could put more attachments on and play Warzone better. Or if you have to go to the in-laws for fucking Christmas and you're bored out of your mind, you can work on leveling some guns, or maybe even doing camos in Warzone for some guns that share progression. That's pretty cool. That makes this a lot more attractive, and it provides some value to people who would otherwise not play this game. So that is interesting, I think.
Yeah, it does. Are we going to install it and play it?
Absolutely
No, probably not.
I don't leave my room.
Probably not.
But yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I can buy an iPad. Buy an iPad and download it on there. Someone can send 2 iPads to the P.O. box if you want. We can play Warzone Mobile for you.
I can't wait for the iPads are ruining Warzone Mobile discourse from cell phone players.
Right.
Just like computers are ruining Warzone from the console players.
I don't know how mobile gaming works, but I did see JGOD say you can use a controller in Warzone Mobile.
Really?
Fucking controller OP. Yeah, they have a whole controller to aim, and I just have my one thumb on mobile.
Yeah.
You know? That's not fair at all.
True.
That's insane. True. But those mobile players should just play on a controller if it's that much better. That's the other thing, so.
It'd be more fun, too. Way more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anyway.
Truly.
Cool. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Pretty short episode today.
Infinity Ward hasn't done anything.
Infinity Ward, if they probably haven't done anything. If they have, they didn't tell us about it. in typical Infinity Ward fashion, of course. But luckily, again, we have XclusiveAce, people like him, and we will have those videos all linked down in the show notes and the description. We hope you guys enjoyed. Reminder, Warzone Roundtable this Saturday. It's going to be an absolute banger. Come check it out. Come join us. Very excited for that. We're going to talk about all things Warzone 2. Impressions, reviews, tips, strategies, and more. It's going to be fairly open format, and I'm very excited to get into that. So you can be here for that. And if you wanted more of the program, if you want to support the program, if you're tired of ads, if you wanted episodes early, patreon.com/thedropshot, 5 bonus eps a month, and more. Check it out, which is the best way to support the show. That is it. Thank you all for watching and listening. Have an excellent evening, of course, and stay humble.
Stay humble.